Good evening, MV UK. It's Pete here, and welcome back to the channel. We're going to have a little update tonight on the Zelenskyy, Trump, JD Vance, and European comments over the issues since Friday's explosive press conference over in the White House. You can see that about here. So if you are unfamiliar with where all this started, then definitely go there and check that out and come back. And this will make a whole heap of sense. So stay tuned. We're going to get into it right now. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you've watched the press conference from Friday and that you understand what I'm talking about. It was incredible, incredible. I watched it all, so about 40 minutes. It was really good, really positive. Then boom, it changed dramatically. And it changed dramatically, and I noticed the undercurrents with it was Trump is saying, if we sign the mineral deal, which was what the whole visit to the White House was for, it's supposed to be a ceremony. Zelenskyy turns up, signs a mineral deal, leaves. That would have been good. Because what Trump is trying to say is if you've got thousands of Americans working on the rare minerals plants in Ukraine and Russia dares attack, there will be hell to pay. But Zelenskyy has been let down too many times by too many presidents, and I feel his pain. And he basically ran down all of the years that he'd been let down. And the only year he hadn't been let down was when Trump was in power and he given javelins to take out quite a large fleet of Russian tanks. So, you know, he's got skin in the game of doing what he says he's going to do. But Zelenskyy is pushing for more ammo, for more weaponry, for more money. There's no sign that he wants peace. From my own opinion and perspective, I think he wants to continue the suffering in Ukraine, and he hates Putin. So he just won't quit until he gets Putin to quit. And Putin will only talk to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump wants peace. He's sick to death of hundreds of thousands of people dying. But I've got a few clips to just talk us through what's happened over the weekend, where we're up to now from that explosive press conference last Friday. I've actually been under the weather and in my bed for 2 days ill, so I'm glad, because I would have made videos and they'd have been out of date in a heartbeat. But anyway, I've got a good summary now. So it all kind of starts with Zelenskyy leaving the White House on Friday. They did make an effort to come back, but Trump has said quite flatly, until you're ready. In fact, let's let JD Vance tell us all about it.
Is the door open? President Trump said Friday he can come back if he wants peace. Is that door still open today?
What President Trump has said clearly and consistently is, of course, the door is open so long as Zelenskyy is willing to seriously talk peace. Okay,
perfect. So if he can demonstrate that he wants peace, proper peace, then the door is open from America. You know, you've got that. So there, and today, an update on today, the US has officially put a pause on all US aid going to Ukraine. So they're taking a stance that if you can't come for peace, well, we're not going to pay for you to keep killing Ukrainian and Russian people. There's hundreds of thousands dying at the moment. It's a scandal. The Europeans, however, had a summit over the weekend to kind of react and form a direction following this breakdown of relations on Friday. And we'll start with the EU leader, Ursula von der Leyen.
We are in an era of rearmament. And Europe is ready to massively boost its defense spending, both to respond to the short-term urgency to act and to support Ukraine, but also to address the long-term need to take on more responsibility for our own European security.
That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, because the EU doesn't have an army, so they have nothing that they can increase defense spending on. All they have is the ability to influence their member states and increase taxes on them to afford their vanity project of the Ukraine war. Very, very dangerous lady indeed. These people They don't want peace. I can assure you they want to keep the war going because, anyway, let's hear from Keir Starmer. I think it's important now. So that was what she had to say following the weekend's EU, Ukraine, whatever summit it is this weekend. Let's hear from Keir, because Keir is now, I fear, looking for a war. Watch this through these different clips. His speech giving is very prime ministerial. I want these messages to be reported in the books of history forever, as I, Keir Starmer, have, and that wasn't a misspeak, have gone to war because that's what makes you a good Prime Minister. No, it doesn't, Keir. No, it doesn't. And we're going to get to the bottom of it in a little while. So stay tuned, everyone. Oh, in fact, if you're liking what you're seeing, hit the like button, subscribe, but really important for me, and helps get the channel out to some new people that think in the same manner. Right, Keir, what's your aim game?
The first priority of this government, of any government, is the security and safety of the British people, to defend the national interest, particularly in these volatile times. That's why last week I announced the biggest sustained increase in defence spending since the Cold War. That's also why I met President Trump last week, to strengthen our relationship with America, an indispensable partners in defence and security. And it's why this weekend I've been hosting European leaders here in London to work together for the security of the United Kingdom, Ukraine, and Europe as a whole. Through my discussions over recent days, we've agreed that the UK, France, and others will work with Ukraine on a plan to stop the fighting. Then we'll discuss that plan with the United States and take it forward together.
Okay, so that's what he's got. He wants to make up a plan, take it to the US, get it signed off, and then move forward with it. Well, yeah, okay, cool. I get that. And the one big question that some of you might be already recognising, I'll save until towards the end, which comes from one of the press journalists asked him the question that I think a lot of people are asking him. So anyway, that's all very well, and we'll get to that. But in the meantime, what we've got to think about is how he plans to do this. So let's take a look.
The purpose of today's meeting was to unite our partners around this effort, to strengthen Ukraine and to support a just and enduring peace for the good of all of us. Our starting point must be to put Ukraine in the strongest possible position now, so that they can negotiate from a position of strength. And we are doubling down in our support. Yesterday evening, the UK signed a £2.2 billion loan to provide more military aid to Ukraine, backed not by the British taxpayer, but by the profits from frozen Russian assets. And today I'm announcing a new deal, which allows Ukraine to use £1.6 billion of UK export finance to buy more than 5,000 air defence missiles.
Okay, let's stop it there. So that's very interesting indeed. 2.2 billion from Russian frozen assets. Well, he did say, let me get this right, he did say there that it's a loan. So that implies that it's got to be paid back. So are we profiting from interest on that? I don't know. Then he says that he's rallying his EU partners. Now, not everyone in the EU is signed up for going toe-to-toe with Russia, because that's exactly where this is going to end. And let's not be under any illusion. This is going on the front line with Russia. Disaster. Utter disaster. From an ex-squaddy, I'm telling you now, you are provoking the bear. So that's what I think about that. I think it is, he's playing a risky strategy. I'm absolutely positive that he wants war. That's all you're going to get by putting boots on the ground in the front line of Ukraine, is conflict. Okay, so he breaks down how he's going to approach this plan. And then I'll play the question. I'd love your comments. So let's get through it together. Here's the first step.
First, we will keep the military aid flowing and keep increasing the economic pressure on Russia to strengthen Ukraine now.
Okay, so that's step one, economic.
Second, we agreed that any lasting peace must ensure Ukraine's sovereignty and security, and Ukraine must be at the table.
Yeah, there's a good thing. Ukraine must be at the table. Well, they've just shown us on Friday they're not prepared to go to the table. They want more war. They want an end to Russia, and it's not going to happen. Not in a month of Sundays. So that's, I think, a moot point.
Third, in the event of a peace deal, we will keep boosting Ukraine's own defensive capabilities to deter any future invasion.
Giving them more money for more defence. It says one thing. Zelenskyy, in my own opinion, is unhinged. He is literally unhinged. And you know he's unhinged because he basically was due to be out of office. The end of his presidency was 2022. But when that come round, he cancelled the elections. He put his political opponents in prison and has suppressed, taken over the main news stations. So he is as good as a dictator as you can actually get. And I don't know why we're pandering to this fool. Anyway, step 4.
Fourth, we will go further to develop a coalition of the willing to defend a deal in Ukraine and to guarantee the peace. Not every...
Yeah, there you go. Coalition of the willing. He was just saying at the end of that clip, not everyone will be prescribed to sign up for that. Nah, going toe-to-toe against Russia. Are you crazy? That is like the last thing on a few countries' minds right now because they've got big deficits to Russia for energy or for whatever it may be. They do not want to provoke anything with their contracts or their economic security by agreeing to go toe-to-toe with somebody that they're in partnership with. It's insane. So Kiev's realised that the EU will not agree to anything. They can't. There's just too many differences of opinions. And then when we get down to the kind of more nitty-gritty ones, they'll cancel you out because it doesn't fall in line with their shared values, which is globalism and liberalism and the destruction of any kind of success. Unbelievable. So a coalition of the willing, basically anyone stupid enough to get together and try and go and secure Ukraine from Russia. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. Can you not see? Who's advising Keir Starmer? They need to be sacked on sight.
Finally, we agreed that leaders will meet again very soon to keep the pace behind these actions and to keep working towards this shared plan. We are at a crossroads in history today. This is not a moment for more talk. It's time to act, time to step up and lead, and to unite around a new plan for a just and enduring peace.
So there you go. What it all boils down to, from what I can see, is money. Money, 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 money. And it's quite useful. So I'll put this on the screen here. And you can currently see military spending on the Ukraine war is very, very 50-50. US picking up half the bill, with Europe or other nations, let's say, picking up 51%. So this is the point with what I mentioned earlier about the America pausing US aid. That amount of money is now off the table. There's going to be guys on the front line running out of ammo, running out of supplies, running out of hope. And it breaks my heart. Absolutely breaks my heart. But then again, you've got the possibility. So that's bad enough on its own. But then check out this. This is the NATO defence spending for 2024. Again, the US. Almost 3/4 of the spending comes from the US, and everyone else in NATO, not a chance. France are the worst offenders, only committing 2%. So this is the problem that the Europeans have at the moment, or sorry, I beg your pardon, the coalition of the willing. they're not going to have the money. It means they've got to double their defence spending. And whilst we've just nosed ours up by 0.2% to 2.5%, it means we'd have to double it to 5% just to keep afloat with the shortfall in the US money. I think it's an absolute... I think this is a disgrace. I think that what they need to do is they need to do a minerals deal with Ukraine. That secures them thousands of workers on the ground, which makes it very hard for Russia to do anything against them because they'll have the weight of America behind them. Then you've got... well, who knows? It's just crazy. I'm just lost for words. Anyway, I want to wrap up because with all of this, you know, like Keir Starmer going, yeah, we want to get Ukraine to negotiate in a position of strength. That's all very well, but Ukraine has no strength. It's got no money, no ammo, and no people left. So Starmer wants to get the Ukraine to a bargaining, to a position, negotiating position of strength. Well, it ain't going to happen because Ukraine's got no money, no military capability, i.e. bombs, bullets, tanks, air defence, whatever, and it is running out of personnel. As they said in the White House on Friday, you literally, your young people are gone. They're never coming back. You've got a generational gap now in Ukraine because of all the killing and dying. It's horrible. And you've got these bozos here trying to queue up a deal without Russia. I mean, Russia needs to be involved now. They're the ones who are in a dominant position. They've taken territory, they're holding the territory, and they're advancing by day. They are the ones that need to be stopped, not embellishing Ukraine's priorities or capabilities, to be able to win this war. Absolute nightmare. So anyway, there's one final thing that covered that point nicely, and that was Hugo from the newspaper asked a very poignant question, and listen, look at Starmer towards the end of his reply, and we'll talk about it when it's finished. Here we go.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Hugo Jai from the paper. Obviously, the other party that would need to sign up to any future peace deal is Russia. President Trump has said he wants to talk to Russia. You're coming up with a peace deal without Russia's involvement. What makes you think that Russia can be persuaded to sign up to this deal that's been agreed by its enemies?
Well, in the end, a deal will have to involve Russia. Of course it will. But we can't approach this on the basis that Russia dictates the terms of any security guarantee before we've even got to a deal. Otherwise, we won't make any progress at all. It is, for a deal to be done, but if a deal is done, it has to be a deal that is then defended. Because what we've seen in the past is a cessation of the hostilities without any backup, and that was readily breached by Russia. And that is precisely the situation that I think we need to avoid this time around, which is why we're going down this road.
Look, did you see that? He can hardly hold eye contact with him because he knows he's stitching up Russia. He's totally and utterly playing with fire. And if you think that he's doing it in the interests of peace, think again. Why put boots on the ground before you've even come up with a peace deal? You are off your nut, mate. Anyway, I will leave it there. That was a quick update. I will bring you... oh, hang on a second. Do we have one? Oh, yeah, we have one last section. Sorry about that. It would be wrong to not find out what Vance thinks of the European leaders from the weekend.
What did you make of European leaders, quote, their voices of solidarity this weekend?
Yeah, Sean, here's the problem with the Europeans. And a lot of these guys are our friends. They're our allies. We, of course, the president has a great relationship with a lot of European heads of state, and so do I, but they need to be realistic. And the craziest part about this, Sean, is that sometimes you'll have European heads of state who in public will puff up their chest and say, we're in it with President Zelenskyy for the next 10 years. And then in private, they'll pick up the phone and say, this can't go on forever. He has to come to the negotiating table. So I honestly don't care what the Europeans say in public. What I care is what they say in private. And what they need to be saying to President Zelenskyy is, this can't go on forever. The bloodshed, the killing, the economic devastation, it's making everyone worse off. The only pathway, I think, back to peace and prosperity is what the president's trying to accomplish.
And there you have it. I couldn't have said it any better, JD Vance. And also special thanks to Fox News for these clips. Most appreciated. Sean Hannity is my favourite ever news presenter of all time. He is genius. So definitely be sure to check out the Hannity Show if you have similar views to MV UK. And on that note, I suppose I'll leave it there for the second time. If you like this, like the video, share it, subscribe, and feel free to leave me a nice comment about what your thoughts are on the explosive weekend's activities, the posturing by the EU, who have no money and no concept, and this half-baked idea of a coalition of willing people, which is basically anyone they can scrape together that is up for a war on their legacy. That would be you, Keir. Absolute fool. You're playing with lives. This ain't a game. Lives, mate. I'm going to close it down there. Take care. MV UK, Pete here. All the best.